Hello and welcome back to my channel Learn SST. So let's do the next lesson of U.A.E SST for grade 8, book 2, South America. See the learning objectives. To learn about the first civilizations in South America and how populations have developed through migration, colonization and modernization. The U.A.E link. U.A.E also had one of the oldest civilizations in the world. The CC link. It is linked with both history as well as geography. So here we have the brainstorm question from the textbook. Please go through. So viewers, before I proceed with my video, just a humble request to please subscribe to Learn SST, share it with your friends and relatives, and press the bell icon for the notification of my latest videos. So let us look at the land forms in South America. South America is the longest of all the world's continent to run in a north to south direction. As a result, it is the only continent that crosses both the equator at 0 degrees and reaches a sub-Antarctic region immediately south of the Antarctic Circle, that is 66.5 degrees south, zone at Tierra del Fuego at its southernmost point. The driest place on earth is the Atacama Desert in South America. The one of the world's longest rivers, the Amazon, is sometimes called the lungs of the earth. It is a major source of exchange of carbon dioxide for oxygen. It has the most biodiversity of any region in the world. That means you find variety of plants and animals over here. Amazon has the tributary rivers that feed into, so it gets wider and wider until it enters the Atlantic Ocean. There are many tribes of indigenous people living within the Amazon who have adapted to its tropical forest for thousands. South America has the tallest waterfall, Angel Falls in Venezuela, and has a drop of 807 meters. See the first people of South America. South America is a continent comprised, that means it has 12 sovereign countries, free nations, which include Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela. Each of these countries have rich histories, diverse cultures, and interesting backgrounds. Before any of these South American nations existed as we know them today, they were inhabited and ruled by indigenous people, that is, the natives of that land, that populated the North and South American land masses during the height of the Ice Age. These hunter-gatherers were considered Asiatic because they migrated from Asia into North America by crossing the Bering Strait, which served as a land bridge connecting the two continents. They did so to hunt migratory animals such as the bison, various types of deer, and even the now extinct mammoth. So those are very huge animals. These people continue to migrate through North and Central America and into what is now called South America. Once arriving in South America, they began to settle and develop civilizations. While many diverse civilizations were established during this period, the most prominent kingdoms to arise out of South American migrations were the Olmec, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incan kingdoms. See the learning objectives. to learn about the first civilizations in South America and how populations have developed through migration, colonization, and modernization. The U.A.E link. U.A.E also had one of the oldest civilizations in the world. The CC link. It is linked with both history as well as geography. Here I have put up the map. You can go through the map of the different civilizations that came one after the other in South America. Here comes the Mayan. The Mayans were one of the most significant civilizations in the Americas. Originated on the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico between 2500 BC and 1500 AD, the Mayan influence spread throughout Central and South America and set the foundation for other civilizations that followed. The Mayans were a unique and advanced civilization characterized by the elaborate pyramids and great cities such as Tikal, Palenque, and Chichen Itza. At the height of the Mayan Empire, the civilization is estimated to have a population of over 20 lakh people. The Mayan civilization was advanced and excelled in mathematics, agriculture, calendar making, and artwork. They used a system of writing called the hieroglyphs that is similar to the writing system of the ancient Egypt. They played game called the ulama that is similar to football, which they inherited from the Olmecs. They also inherited the ceremonial chocolate drink from the Olmecs. Civilization that came of the Aztecs. The Aztec Empire was another early civilization that flourished in the early Americas, like the Olmec and Mayan predecessors. That means they came before the Aztecs. That's the reason they were called as predecessors. The Aztecs were highly organized and advanced civilization that left a significant impact on the culture of modern-day Mexico, Central and South America. Characterized by the significant cities, the Aztecs established their capital city, Tenochtitlan, in 1325 AD. By the mid 1350s, Nahuatl, the Aztec main language, was the dominant language in the region. The influence of the Aztec culture and language is still felt today, as the words used by them, such as chili, avocado, chocolate, coyote, and guacamole, guacamole, have been absorbed into English and Spanish languages. Like Olmec and Mayan, the Aztecs were originally a hunter-gatherer society that developed advanced agricultural practices and a powerful military. In 1440, a warrior named Montezuma became the ruler of the Aztecs and expanded the empire. At its height, the Aztec Empire included over 500 small states inhabited by 5 to 6 million people. The Aztec Empire fell in 1521 after being defeated in battle by Spain under the military leadership of Herman Cortes. See the next civilization, rather the last civilization, the Inca civilization. The Inca civilization was established between 1400 and 1533 Common Era in what is now Peru. During this period, it was not only considered the largest empire in the Americas, but one of the largest in the world. It was recorded that the Incan Empire included at least 10 million people and was diverse. That means they had variety, with at least 13 languages being spoken throughout the kingdom. The empire spanned at least 5,500 kilometers. That was a huge, big empire, and included areas of present day Ecuador, Peru, northern Chile, Bolivia, Argentina, and Colombia. As the largest and most successful civilization in the Americas, the Inca were a fierce and conquering nation with sophisticated infrastructure, structured government, and advanced society. They even had an interesting communication system called a quipu, which were a series of strings woven together that can be read and interpreted as stories, symbols, and mathematical calculations. I have put up the picture of the cuckoo over here. The Incans were farmers who grew an impressive number of crops like the corn, the bean, the potatoes, avocado, peppers, and cucumber. Also cultivated cocoa, which was used in the production of chocolate for festive and sacred purposes. So here comes activity 2, very much from the textbook. Please go through. Activity 3, again from the textbook. I have not put up activity 1. It's a map activity. You can do it all by yourself. Here comes the Mayan. The Mayans were one of the most significant civilizations in the Americas. Originated on the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico between 2500 BC and 1500 AD, the Mayan influence spread throughout Central and South America and set the foundation for other civilizations that followed. The Mayans were a unique and advanced civilization characterized by the elaborate pyramids and great cities such as Tikal, Palenque, and Chichen Itza. At the height of the Mayan Empire, the civilization is estimated to have a population of over 20 lakh people. The Mayan civilization was advanced and excelled in mathematics, agriculture, calendar making, and artwork. They used a system of writing called the hieroglyphs that is similar to the writing system of the ancient Egypt. They played a game called the ulama that is similar to football, which they inherited from the Olmecs. They also inherited the ceremonial chocolate drink. This is the map of the colonial region of South America on the left side, and the right side map is present day South America. Now, what is South America today? As we have learned, South America has a rich history that spans hundreds of years, from the ancient Olmec and Mayan civilizations to prominent nation states. The history of South America is very diverse, exciting, and progressive. In today's time, South America can be described as a melting pot of cultures, traditions, languages, and customs. While historical events such as colonization has ended, the once prominent indigenous kingdoms, a new, more modern South America has emerged from the ancient ruins. Today, South America comprises of 12 free or sovereign countries following a wave of independence from the European colonial control. The most widely spoken languages in South America are Portuguese and Spanish. So you can see the influence of the colonization still over there, that the people do not speak their native language or languages, but they prefer still talking or conversing in the language of their colonizers. So we have Portuguese and Spanish being spoken over there quite widely. Some indigenous languages are still spoken, however, most are confined to remote and isolated ethnic tribes. Brazil, the largest South American country, has the highest amount of indigenous languages spoken, as well as the largest amount of isolated ethnic tribes. When we say isolated or uncontacted ethnic tribes, it means that they don't want to mix up with the other people. So they are still living the life since, and it's the same life since ages. South America has an estimated population of over 418 million Africans and multi ethnic mestizos. The Incan highway system. The Incans were a powerful civilization with an empire of land and territory that controlled trade routes up and down the Andes mountain system and coastal lands and valleys. Incans maintained land highways that used llamas to carry goods over the pass. Some parts of this overland route have been preserved and recognized as protected sites by the UNESCO World Heritage. Let us see the Pizarro's conquest of the Incans. The first Spanish conquest of South America occurred when Francisco Pizarro invaded America and followed the historic roads of the Incan Empire until he found the capital city of the Incans in what is now Peru. When Pizarro arrived in 1520, he found an Incan population already devastated by the spread of smallpox that the Europeans were carrying with them. The smallpox had broken out and killed a significant amount of population. The spread of this disease had killed the Incan emperor and his heir to the throne, that is his son. So Pizarro arrived at a time of great crisis for the Incan people. Pizarro met an Incan army of 40,000 led by Atahualpa near Cusco in Peru. Pizarro invited a meeting between the two sides but misled the Incans. The Incan leader came unarmed into the area where the Spanish were. Pizarro hid his armed troops and massacred the Incan leadership and captured and held Atahualpa as a prisoner. Pizarro then advanced upon the Incan capital city of Cusco and seized control. The Spanish demanded and received a large ransom of gold and silver, but still executed the Incan leader. Some Incans managed to resist for another 50 years, but the Spanish had gained full control of the Incan Empire. Here comes the Mayan. The Mayans were one of the most significant civilizations in the Americas. Activity 4 continued. Now let us see the division of South America. In 1494, just 2 years after Columbus' discovery of the Americas, the Spanish and Portuguese were in competition for control of South America. To avoid war, they sought the mediation of the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church in the Vatican City, Rome. Because both the countries were Catholic, they agreed to allow the Pope to draw a division on a map of the New World, in which the Portuguese would keep land to the east of the line and the Spanish would keep the land to the west of the line. This was the Treaty of Tordesillas. Because the maps of 1494 were inaccurate, this meant that Spain would have rights to all of Mexico, Central America, and most of South America, including the land of the Aztec and Incan Empire, which they had not yet discovered. So here we have the early colonial society in South America. The Spanish became the wealthiest nation in the world as they forced the native populations to hand over their traditional gold and silver and work in mines. During the first half of the Spanish soldiers were given rights to vast amount of land taken from the native population. These lands were called as encomiendas. Large plantations where native people and Africans worked for Spanish or Portuguese landowners. The Atlantic system. The effect of Columbus' discovery of the New World, or more properly, the island of Hispaniola, was a major transformation in the world history and has an immense impact on Africa, Spain, Europe, and of course the Americas. This inaugurated an era of overseas exploration and colonialism that dominated the era of the modern world ever since. The Atlantic Ocean became a center of trade and commerce. Once Europeans reached the mainland of Central and South America, they also began expanding into the Indian Ocean and towards the Pacific. The plantation system was put in a place in the Americas to grow sugar and other crops. They captured or bought Africans as slaves on plantations. They did this because the many tribes of the native people were depleted, were killed. This is activity 5, very much from the textbook. You can go through, you can add some more points of your own. Finally, I come to the last, almost second last slide. That is the plenary questions. I hope you'll be able to answer these questions well. This was a pretty long lesson for me to prepare, and it took me a pretty long time. So I would really appreciate if you would give me a thumbs up for this video and do subscribe it. Okay. The Incan highway system. The Incans were a powerful civilization with an empire of land and territory that controlled trade routes up and down the Andes mountain system and coastal lands and valleys. Incans maintained land highways that used llamas to carry goods over the pass.